From the Gert Boyle studio at OPB, this is Think Out Loud. I'm Dave Miller. As AI becomes ubiquitous, artists and writers are creating their own guiding principles for where and how they use the technology in their work. For many people, it's not as simple as a complete embrace or a total prohibition. We're going to get two perspectives right now from two writers. By day, Tracy Hoagland works in advertising and marketing. She also writes thrillers and is the chair of the Portland chapter of Willamette Writers. Jessie Kwak is a ghostwriter, editor, and book coach who has also written books of her own. It's great to have both of you on Think Out Loud.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Tracy, first, can you describe your day job?
Sure, yeah. I work for a marketing technology company. What that means essentially is we are helping businesses find their customers and advertise to them. That's what my specific job is advertising operations. So,
In that context, how much is AI used?
it is mandatory. We have AI principles. It's a huge part of our job. If you're not using it in almost every aspect of your job, you are falling behind.
Okay, so basically everything that you put out to help a business communicate with their customers or other businesses, it is AI enabled. AI touches every piece of it.
Enabled
somehow.
is a good word.
Okay.
Yeah.
I almost didn't want to say it because it seems like just like jargony. But what is it actually? I mean, what are examples of how you're using AI in the course of your day job?
Sure. Yeah. So streamlining workflows is a huge thing. So looking at our processes and saying, what could we be doing better? The big focus on it is like improving efficiency. And so it's just, what can we do to make things go live faster? What can we do to cut roadblocks? Things like that.
What about generating just, prose that's going to end up as the final copy for something?
Yeah, there's marketing content that they use. I'm not on the exact marketing team, but yeah, I know it's something that's encouraged, using it to generate content, things like that.
Okay, so that's your day job. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of your life, you're a writer in your own right, and then the chair of this community of the Portland community of Willamette Writers. So to what extent do you use AI in that part of your life?
I don't at all. I turn that side of my brain off. Yeah. It's something where for me, AI is like what I said, it's all about output, improving efficiency. When I come to my own writing, it's about like the idea of lingering. It's the idea of input. It's taking that time to focus on the thing that you love and you care about, and you want to take that time. You want it to kind of hurt a little bit.
Okay. Jessie, can you give us a sense for the different kinds of writing that you do?
Yeah, so I have been a freelance copywriter for the past 12 or 13 years. And in that, I also ghostwrite business books for coaches and consultants. And then I coach those same kind of coach consultants, entrepreneurs in writing their own books. So that's kind of the freelance nonfiction side of my business.
Being paid by others
Yes.
to help them write stuff, anywhere from short stuff to a whole book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then what about your own writing?
Yeah, so for my own writing, I write novels, I write science fiction and thrillers, and then I also write nonfiction books on creativity and productivity.
So as we heard just now from Tracy, there's a real division in the extent to which AI is a part of her work, deeply a part of her day job at a techie business company, and almost not at all a part of her outside, personal writing life. Do you have a similarly bright line?
No, I use it in both kind of sides of the business. But I use it in a similar way that Tracy was talking about for kind of those efficiency gains and things that I can streamline because I am running a writing business and not just writing a book and hoping that it does something out in the world. There's a lot of things like marketing copy that I do need to write that I will use AI to do generative writing for. And I do a lot of dictation and I interview clients. And so I have a lot of transcripts I'm working with. And I use a lot of AI tools for that. But I do have a line around my creative work, because for me, there is, like Tracy was saying, part of the point of writing is wrestling with these ideas and coming up with your own unique perspective on it. And I don't want to outsource that to the robots. That's the part that I love. And so if there are things that I can outsource that give me more time for that work, then that's kind of, I guess, the line that I draw.
I want to hear more from both of you about the love of craft, even Tracy, as you're saying, if it's painful, or maybe partly because it's painful. But to stick with the business side for a second, Jessie, how do you talk about this with your clients? I'm curious what kind of rules, if that's the word for it, you've set up for the people that you're working for, if they want to use AI.
Yeah, so I have had a lot of good conversations with clients more and more recently as more people are getting into it. And the majority of my clients are entrepreneurs and business owners. And so they're fairly open to the idea of using AI in their business. I did have one client recently, and this is what inspired me, that I was like, okay, I need to really have a policy. She came to me and she said, okay, so I took the transcript of our last conversation, and a friend taught me how to use ChatGPT to take this transcript and write the chapter. And she said, so I did that, and it was great. It looked really professional. It was way better than I can write, but it didn't sound like me. So I threw it away, and here's the draft that I wrote. And I was like, oh, I'm so glad that you actually came to that realization on your own, because your readers don't want the AI version of what it is in your head. They want your stories and your voice and your words, even if they're not, quote unquote, the perfect words. So that is a conversation I have with my clients is we're here to get your stories out. So let's do that. And if there's ways that AI can help you do that, great. But the final product really needs to be in your voice.
You know what's fascinating about that is that that's not a kind of moral decision matrix about the love of craft or the human, the beauty of human striving. What your client said is that the product wasn't quite right. This wasn't my voice, and I don't want to put this out in the world because it doesn't sound like me. I'm wondering what happens when the product is actually good enough. I mean, I think I've given up in underestimating the power of AI. Just in the last year, every week, it gets so much better in various ways that I think it's worth imagining the world, maybe soon, when AI products can seem soulful, can seem wonderfully, weirdly, imperfectly human, can seem like something we might actually be proud of having written. At that point, do you think your client would have approached this differently?
I think then it's a matter of, are the inputs yours? Are the inputs your stories and your voice? And the thing that I do teach my book coaching clients to do is to talk out their books, because many of them aren't writers necessarily. And so I teach them, okay, let's talk through this chapter. And then, if AI could take that transcript and turn it into something that they would have written that has those unique stories and their unique voice, then I would say it is their unique voice and stories. But right now it can't. It does still want to blandify everything.
Tracy, how do you think about that question? That where I guess the question is the extent to which writing is an end in and of itself, and the human act of writing and wrestling with words and tearing your hair out and eventually coming up with something is that there's value in that, as opposed to really focusing on the end product.
Well, I think that's the question is, like, why are you writing? Just at the core of it, why are you writing? Are you writing as your day job, which, most writers are not marketers. Most writers don't have the time or the energy or even the desire to be having to post, however many Instagram posts every day, all that kind of content.
So cranking out widgets, some kind of wordy product.
Yeah. And, at my company, the focus on it is, we're personalizing to an audience, right? And so an audience is our customers, and we want as many customers as possible. in writing, and Jessie and I were just talking about this, it's like you're at the core. The story that you're writing is the story that you need to write. And if no one's going to like it, that's fine, especially if it's not your business. If you're just writing it because you need to write this story, that's your story. But if you're writing it because you need an audience, AI can help with that. AI is a prediction model, right? It is trying to predict how to get the biggest audience that whatever you tell it, whatever inputs that you give. But it can only look back, right? AI, it's being trained on us. It's being trained on the stuff that we put in.
On this totality of human creation up to that point that it's been fed.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's a big thing I think about, where it's like it can get up to this point, right? And I'm doing hand motions on the radio, but it can get up to this point. But it's looking back. It's always the past. It's always what it's been trained on. I mean, even at work, and our engineers are using it so heavily. And some of them like legitimately love coding. Coding is their writing, right? They love to code. And they're using AI to make these huge amounts of code that they're writing a little bit easier, make that come faster.
Do you hear the same thing from some of them, that they miss the coding time?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
But they're forced
to
use because they actually can be much faster.
Yeah.
There's almost nothing that AI is better at this point than coding.
Yeah. And but they'll still say that, like, even the code that's coming out, it's this like, and I'm not a coder, so I don't, but it's generic. It's good enough. It's that kind of code. And so it's not the like incredibly efficient actually. But the big focus of our engineers are what processes are you guys doing that are stupid and repetitive and you want to get rid of? And that's what they're trying to fix for us in particular at the company. But again, it comes to me down to this idea of output and getting as much output, getting the efficiency in place. And but even at our company, it's, there are aspects where like, don't ever use AI. If it's something that you require deep empathy to a problem that requires, so HR, right? Should HR be using AI tools?
They are.
They are, yeah.
But you're saying should they?
But should they? Yeah. Or, data privacy is also obviously huge. And so like taking that into account. So there's just always nuance, but yeah.
How much does this come up? The kind of conversations that we're having now or debates do you hear about from members of Willamette Writers, this community of Oregon writers? How much is AI a topic right now?
It's a big topic. And like what Jessie was saying, there's this gray area of, are you trying to write as your day job? Are you an indie author that is needing, output? You use AI to offload those areas that you're not the expert in. But then it's even things like, so query letters. It's the letter that you send to an agent to get them to hopefully read your book. Across the board, I can tell you, every writer hates writing those. They're hard to write. You're just condensing your 100,000 word book into 500 words or something. And people hate writing them. But, we all did it. And it made you actually think about your book a little bit more. And being in that, like, this sucks, but I'm going to just keep trying and I'm going to keep talking to my peers and getting feedback, because like that human piece, I think, is the part that you just miss so much when you try to just get AI to write it. And it's good enough, and maybe an agent will read that query letter
or
and it'll be good enough.
Maybe the agent's going to have their AI read that letter as well. We're having robots reading stuff written by robots with humans in the back end every now and then giving them prompts.
Yeah.
Both of you, like me, are old enough that you became readers and then writers before AI was a thing. I'm curious how you think about young people now, kids now, who are growing up in a very different world when these tools are going to be so, if not the norm, they could become the norm for them, depending on the lessons they're given, the prompts they're given, but the tools are readily available. I'm curious, Jessie, how you think that could shape the future of writing.
I think to Tracy's point earlier about writing kind of being a struggle and being your way of struggling with ideas and what you even think, I very much worry about asking an AI, what do I think? Instead of trying to understand that for yourself through the struggle of, I would say, writing, but also, I mean, that's not everyone's way of discovering their ideas. Some people talk with friends, some people start a podcast. You know, everybody has a way of figuring out what it is that they think and believe. And for writers, that is, we turn to the page and we grab our pens and notebooks sometimes. And I worry that if it just becomes standard to say, here's a topic that I need to understand. Hey, Claude, how do I understand this? You lose that skill of figuring out how do you understand it? What do you believe? What is your unique point of view in the world? So I do worry about that.
Jessie Kwak and Tracy Hoagland, thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Jessie Kwak is an author and ghostwriter based in Portland. Tracy Hoagland is a writer, chair of the Portland chapter of Willamette Writers.